God is good, and all the times. How was your weekend? How was the flag raising day? Fantastic. Almost fantagorgeous. I can imagine. So we have had a wonderful weekend, and this morning, on the 5th of June, we celebrate the memorial of our good saint, Saint Boniface, who was a bishop and a martyr of the church. He died because of the faith. Saint Boniface is known as Saint Paul of Germany because he worked so hard. He worked so hard to make the faith strong there. But he was born with another name, Winifred. We have some technical hitches, but we have the technicians who can handle them technically. Back on St. Boniface, I was saying that Boniface, when he was born of Anglo-Saxon parents. That means parents who are English, at the same time German. We normally have various traditions, various, ways in which you can be born in Kenya, but you are also having another citizenry. Like you have the famous Obama, who was born in America, but had African Kenyan origins. We have our current Pope Francis, who is born in Argentina, but he has Italian origins, and is now back at home working among his kinsmen and also the whole world. So Bishop Boniface, when he was born, he was in England, and he was given the name Winfred, which means joy and peace. And the story goes that he was trained in faith. From the age of 5, he had been learning the faith and was a very good preacher and had a very rare grasp of the scriptures. And when he was at the age of 30, then he was ordained a priest. And at 39, he had the dream of his life. As a young boy, he always wanted to be a missionary to his kinsmen back in Germany. And so he was given time to go back to Germany. When he went to Germany, he did wonderful things. The most distinguished thing that he did was to go on a rare charm offensive campaign when he went and fell a huge oak tree which was dedicated to the god of thunder. Anybody who touched that tree, it was believed that there would be dire consequences. But Boniface, when he went there, when he was the bishop, he went there and felled the oak tree. And when the much expected dire results never came, people joined the faith. That's a very strange thing that he did, a rare courage, that you can go and cut a tree that is dedicated to the god of thunder. It is a courage as rare as the courage of father who was in Loak for the yacht, who went and killed a snake which was belonging to a magician called Oracha down there. Those who are from Asembo, you know that story. And so that is a mark of faith that he did. Then he went on, and he did so many things. He made the church very united, and he had two principles. The principle was that he wanted to restore the obedience of the clergy to their bishops, and also in union with the Pope, the Bishop of Rome, and also he made many churches. The last time that he went again back to his home was in the year 755, when his kinsmen, the German tribes, accosted him and murdered him with 12 converts and 40 other people. He died on the 5th of June, 755, at the age of 75. Wonderful dates. 5th June, 755, aged 75 years. And he died with that title of St. Paul of Germany. His name, Boniface, means doing good. And he did very many good things. On matters doing good, we hear today in the scriptures the story of Tobit, a very domestic story, a story of the family of the Israelites, sons of Israel in the exile in Syria, in Geneva, in Nineveh. And then this man, Tobit, a family man, his wife is Anna, his son is Tobias. He is exiled somewhere. Now, after a lot of negotiations, he comes back and is given a homecoming ceremony. and the wife prepares a lot of good things. If somebody comes from the prison, he's supposed to be given a lot of food, welcome home. And he sees the food is too much. And what does he do? He sends his son Tobias, that Toby, you go to the streets and call some people who are hungry and let them come. The story of the man who had a banquet for his son. And the man goes to the street, and what does he find? He does not come with a story of people joining the banquet, but he comes with a funeral story. That, Father, they have killed one of us. He's in the marketplace. They have strangled him and thrown him in the marketplace. And so the good man, Tobit, does not eat his food, but he stands up, leaving the table well laid, and he goes to the marketplace and hides this person's body somewhere, planning to go and bury him at night. There was that time they were killing the Jews, and they were throwing their bodies to be scattered in the streets, not to be buried. There's something worse than Sakahola. In Sakahola, when they died, they were buried very fast. But in that land, when the people who were in exile were killed, they were killed brutally and left to rot there in the street, that they would be seen there with their skeletons. Something worse than when they talk about the drought in Africa and in Kenya, then they give you in the televisions images of donkeys and cows and goats and rams. What they don't give you, there is a possibility of some human beings having died somewhere. But now this was supposed to be the sin, to be a trauma to these people, a punishment. To see your people dying in the streets without burial is very traumatic. But then Toby takes this Boniface idea of doing good, then he goes and hides this body and comes back and eats when he's very sorrowful, very sad. And he remembers a proverb saying, which says that their parties will turn into sorrow and their suppers will be interrupted. And then people are laughing and saying, hey, this man, he's just from exile because he was burying people. He was doing good. And here he is again, burying the dead. But because Tobit is a good man, he continues. He's like St. Boniface who fell, the oak tree in Friesland. And then that idea of doing good is what we see today in the gospel passage when Jesus talks about the man who had a vineyard. The man who had a vineyard, who wanted to invest in the wine industry and wanted to give people employment. Indeed, he gave them employment. He gave it to tenants. And then the idea was that when you work there, then there is what belongs to the owner of the farm, and there is what belongs to the people, the tenants. But the tenants were not good people. They did not give the owner of the farm his due. And so when the time came for the owner of the farm to get his due, what did they do? They began beating the servants. They began killing some. They began dealing with some shamefully. And so Christ goes on to say that at the end of it all, this man said, I now will send my own son. And when he talks about his own son, Christ talks about himself, that he is the last to be sent among the prophets, that the prophets came in the Lord's vineyard, and the people of Israel killed them. And now he even sent John the Baptist. They also killed that. And here he is. He's talking to the Pharisees and these elders of the people. And they perceive very fast that Christ is talking about them. And so they want to arrest him. But they are afraid because he is doing the good thing. That means that the power of good goes above the powers of evil. The power of God goes above the power of other darkness. And so we are called upon this morning to imitate St. Boniface and do good things. In life, you have to have a legacy of doing something good. Something good like Tobit has the act of charity, of mercy, of burying the dead. Giving them a dignified send-off. And also the owner of the vineyard planting the vine to people to get some wine and to get some employment. And above all, St. Boniface, who goes against the offenses, goes against the charms of his kinsmen, and dares them, and dares their gods. And when the people see that nothing has happened, they thought that upon the felling of the oak tree, thunder would come, pop, like stones falling on Raila's chopper. But then this never happened. So when that happened, then they all came and joined Christianity. And when they joined Christianity, the Germans were out of business. And what did they do? 5th June 755, they killed the man of God. But that also is a mark of doing good, following Christ up to the last, paying the ultimate price because of the faith in God. May we all live to do good to our friends, despite the challenges, despite the cost. We now continue with the Holy Mass, singing the songs of offertory, which is also